Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. How are you all? I'm sure you all must be doing good, staying at home, eating healthy, listening to your parents, and also following the instructions given by the government to fight with this coronavirus. Dear students, please do not eat junk food. It won't help you at all. Instead, eat healthy food that would boost your immune system and make you strong enough to fight with any kind of virus, to fight with this coronavirus. Stay at home, eat healthy to stay healthy. I welcome you all in the e-learning program of SLS Montessori and School, and today in this video you would learn about climate, which is the chapter number 3 of unit number 1 of your social studies book. It is given on the page number 19. Keep your books with you while watching the video. It would help you a lot, and today it is the video number 1. Okay, the key learnings, the key things, the key points that you're going to learn in this chapter are like difference between weather and climate, factors affecting climate, major climatic zones of Pakistan, instruments used to measure the weather. Difficult words would be weather, the day-to-day conditions of heat and cold; climate, which means the weather conditions in a region over a long period of time; temperate, not too hot or too cold; humidity, which means a quantity representing the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere; arid, too dry; atmosphere, the layer of gases surrounding the earth; forecast, predict. Okay, first of all, we have difference between weather and climate. Weather means the day-to-day conditions of heat and cold, humidity, cloudiness or rain in any place. And I'm sure many of you would already be knowing it, and if I give you an other definition of weather, it would be like the state of your atmosphere, its temperature, humidity, wind, rainfall and so on, whereas the climate means the weather conditions in a region over a long period of time. And another definition of climate is a change in the pattern of weather. Now here you need to know, what do we mean by pattern of weather? Pattern of weather means the kind of weather, and it includes hot and dry weather, wet and rainy weather and cold weather. Climate is also related to the changes in oceans, land surfaces and ice sheets occurring over time scales of decades or longer. The examples are like the climate of northern Pakistan is cold. And I know you all would agree, because the areas that are included in northern Pakistan are Gilgit-Baltistan region, Astor, Hunza and many more beautiful cities where you go and spend your summer vacation, because even in summers they remain cool. So yes, northern Pakistan's climate is what? It is cold. Whereas the climate in most parts of the Punjab is dry, and you know, we all know that Punjab includes cities like Lahore, Faisalabad, Multan, Sargodha, Bahawalpur and etc. The climate of these places is dry, but what happens is during the monsoon season it rains a lot in these areas. So yes, now you have got your difference. What is the difference? Weather means the day-to-day conditions of the atmosphere, whereas climate means the weather conditions in a region over a long period of time. And if I, tell you more about this concept of climate, these 3 points would help you a lot. The climate of a place can be very hot, as on the equator, very cold, as near the poles, or temperate, not too hot or too cold. Dear students, I would like to tell you that the places that are on the equator include Brazil, Colombia, Kenya, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Indonesia, Somalia, etc. And for your information, there are 13 countries that lie on the equator. 7 are in Africa, the most of any continent. 3 are in South America, and the remaining countries are island nations in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Dear students, most countries by the equator experience much warmer temperatures year round than the rest of the world. Whereas the polar regions that include the Arctic Ocean in the north and Antarctica in the south experience colder temperatures throughout the year because of the ice sheets. Temperate means not too hot or too cold. Yes, the climate can also be very dry or wet, which shows that rainfall is an important feature of the climate. Yes, with temperature, rainfall is perhaps the most important factor in defining climate. It is the major source of energy that drives the water cycle or the circulation of the atmosphere, which also means the cycle of the atmosphere. As water changes from liquid to vapor and back to liquid, heat is stored and then released. So yes, it is an important feature of the climate. Climate has a great effect on people's lives, plants, crops, and on the land in an area. As the climate warms, it changes the nature of global rainfall. Evaporation, snow, stream, flow, and other factors that affects the water supply, its quality and quantity also. So in a way, it affects on people's lives, plants, crops, and on the land in an area. Dear students, this is the climatic map of Pakistan, and with this map we have a key on the top in which we have 4 different colors and indicating 4 different parts of Pakistan. So the area that is shaded in this mustard color, they experience hot summer and mild winters, and the areas that are colored in this skinish color, they experience warm summers and mild winters. Where are the yellow part of the map experience the warm summer and cool winters. We have this green part on the top of the map. Here they experience warm to cool summers and cool to cold winters. Okay, now we have factors affecting climate. The first thing that affects the climate is rainfall. Rainfall or humidity is a very important factor for climate and plant growth. Some parts of the world get more rain than others as they lie in the path of rain-bearing winds. Some areas are very dry as they receive very little and no rainfall at all. The major climatic factor which influences crop growth is rainfall. In areas with little rainfall, the natural vegetation is limited, while the areas with high annual rainfall are reliable for good harvest. And here by this thing, rain-bearing winds, we mean winds which bring rain. So yes, the areas which have these winds have more rainfall, whereas the other areas which do not have these winds, they remain dry and receive very little or no rainfall at all. The second factor that affects the climate is the height or altitude. The earth is surrounded by the atmosphere. High above the Earth's surface, the atmosphere is quite cold. This is why it's colder in the mountains than nearer to the coast. The northern mountainous part of our country is cold throughout the year. Here the word altitude means the height of the place. It is calculated from the sea level. And coast means the part of the land near the sea. If a place has a higher altitude, its temperature would be lower than the place on a lower altitude. Generally, mountains have a colder climate. Dear student, northern areas of Pakistan have a colder climate, which include northern mountainous parts like Hindu Kush Mountains, Karakoram Mountains, Himalayan mountain system, etc. So the northern mountainous part of our country is cold throughout the year, and we all know that because many of you even in summers when go to the northern areas, they find these places very cool. So yes, these areas in winters are very cool, and in summers they remain very cool. Closeness to the sea. There is another factor that affects the climate, and that is the closeness to the sea. Places close to the sea usually have cool breezes blowing from the sea towards the land. This helps to keep the temperature low in the hot summer months. Karachi has a temperate climate since it is neither very hot nor very cold. And this factor influences the climate of a place because the places closer to the sea have cool breezes blowing towards the land that helps to lower the temperature of that place. So Karachi is an example where it is hot during the day, but by the evening cool sea breezes start blowing, and they help to bring the temperature down even in hot summer months. So yes, Karachi is the best example for you to explain this closeness to the sea and how this factor affects the climate. There is another factor that affects the climate, and that is sheltered areas. Some places are sheltered from the wind and rain. For example, a range of hills can act as a barrier. One side may get lots of rain, but the other side gets very little. This thing affects the climate of the place, as in the case of Chitral and Gilgit, which are in a rain shadow or sheltered areas. Dear students, the places that are landlocked are hot in summer because they are surrounded by mountains or hills which stop the winds and the rains, and that is why they are called landlocked, because they have mountains and hills around them, and what these mountains and hills do, they stop the winds and the rains. So that is why they are known as sheltered areas. One side may get rain, but the other side remains dry. And the places that are sheltered in Pakistan, you have already got the examples. They are Chitral, Gilgit, Quetta, and etc. The monsoon. The monsoon is a seasonal wind that blows from June to September in the subcontinent and across Southeast Asia. When do these winds blow? They blow from June to September in the subcontinent and across Southeast Asia. What do? It brings rain when it blows across from the southwest over the Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal. So what are they bringing? What do they bring? They bring rain when they blow across from the southwest and over the Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal. In Pakistan, the monsoon arrives in the summer. Rain clouds blow towards the west coast and the central plains of India. By the time the monsoon winds reach Pakistan, there is little rain left. Monsoon rains in Pakistan fall between the months of July and September. Winter rainfall is mainly in the north and west of the country, brought by winds blowing over Iran and Afghanistan. So winter rainfall, from where do these winds come? They come from the north and west of the country. From the they blow over Iran and Afghanistan. By the time they reach Pakistan, there is little rain left. So here we have a map showing the direction of monsoon winds in Pakistan, and if you would look at it, you would understand that how the monsoon winds blow across the Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal and bring rain to the south part of the subcontinent from June to September, and you can see by the time they're reaching Pakistan, very little winds remain left, and winds that enter Pakistan, they have very little rain in them. So what happens during the winter? The winds from Iran and Afghanistan bring rain clouds. These rain clouds do not bring heavy rains. So yes, this map can help you a lot, because you can see the way the winds are entering the subcontinent or India, and how they're reaching Pakistan, and the amount, or the arrows would tell you that how much of the wind is entering Pakistan. And yes, whatever the amount of wind enters the Pakistan, it has very little rain left in them. Okay, now we have major climatic zones of Pakistan. Highlands. Highlands are mountainous areas, the northern, northwestern and western highlands fall in this region. They have long, cold and snowy winters. Summer in north and northwestern mountains are short, mild and wet, but in western mountains they are warm and dry. Rainfall is the highest in the northern mountains. The western mountains get less rainfall. And we all know that the mountains that are in the north part of the country are a part of the Himalayan and Karakoram regions. These mountains fall into the highland regions, with the mountains in the west of Pakistan. Tell me, why do tourists go to the northern mountains during the summer? I know you all know that the summers are short in the northern mountains, and the climate in these areas is mild and wet. There are many hill stations with hotels where everyone who go there spend their summer vacation and enjoy being cool. The western mountains, whereas, are warm and dry. Rainfall is the highest in the northern mountains. This is the thing that you have to keep in your mind, that rainfall is the highest in the northern mountains, whereas the western mountains get less rainfall. Okay, here we have pictures of the highlands of Pakistan from both from the northern areas and the western areas, and you can see the northern highlands are covered with all the snow, and you would feel cool while looking at this picture, whereas the western highlands are dry and dusty, and you're not getting any cool vibe from this picture. Okay. Arid means dry. The areas of southwestern Balochistan and southeastern deserts fall in this region. The climate is dry and hot throughout the year, with hot, dusty winds and very little rainfall. Okay, my dear students, there are two deserts that are in Sindh and Balochistan provinces. They are Thar Desert and the Haran Desert, respectively. These regions fall in this area. the area which are in the areas which are arid. Arid means dry, that I've already told you. This area is dry and dusty throughout the year. This area remains dry and dusty and hot throughout the year. And what happens? Dusty winds keep on blowing, and they receive very little rainfall, very little rainfall. So this is the thing that you have to keep in your mind, that the climate of this area is dry and hot, and it remains the same throughout the year. And the dusty winds blow there, and they receive very little rainfall. Then comes the arid. These are the pictures of the arid areas of Pakistan, and you can see that they are very dusty, they are very dry, and you can also see a desert in one of the pictures. Okay, then comes the semi-arid areas, the areas of upper Indus Plain, lower Indus Plain, and Potohar Plateau lie in this region. This region has hot summers, cool winters, and monsoon rain. So yes, these areas have they do receive rainfall, but they remain hot. They have hot summers, they have cool winters, and they have a monsoon rain. So what you have to keep in your mind, that what I told you, that arid means dry, so those areas remain dry throughout the year. They don't receive rainfall, they receive very little rainfall, whereas the semi-arid areas are the areas which have hot summer, they experience cool winters, and they have monsoon rain. So yes, if you go to these areas, you would find greenery, you would find plants, and if I will show you these pictures, you would be clear about it, that these areas do have vegetation, they do have greenery in them, they do have plants, and they are not at all like the arid areas which are dry. Okay, then comes the coastal part, the coastal region that includes Karachi, Makran coast, and the Indus Delta. The climate in these areas is humid and mild due to sea breezes throughout the year. Dear students, we have a long coastline in the south, and this area has a humid and mild temperature, as we have read, because of the sea breezes that blow throughout the year. So these areas remain mild, they don't have anything extreme in them, you know. Even if they have extreme or hot day in the evening, the temperature comes down because of all the sea breezes that blow from the sea towards the land. Okay, and these are the pictures from the coastal areas of Pakistan. Okay, now comes the weather report. What does the weather report say? Weather forecast helps people to protect themselves and their property. It helps farmers. Keeping its record helps us to predict the weather and notice any patterns or changes. It is used by governments and big companies to plan ahead. It is used in many ways to simplify our lives. My dear students, I hope you would have seen a weather report in the newspaper or on television. It makes us aware of the weather conditions in the area over a short period of time. It enables the farmer to decide when they have to sow and harvest their crops. The farmers must also know about rainfall predictions, so that they would be able to make arrangements accordingly. It can also help people protect themselves from severe storms in summer or winter. A meteorologist is a person who makes the weather report, and he is concerned with the meteorology department. he is the one who prepares the weather report for you by reading the data that has been collected yes, from from the parts of the country, and with the help of the weather satellite every day. Different organizations of governments also study the reports to prepare in advance for any adverse situations. क्या हो सकती हैं adverse situations like floods, severe snow and tsunamis and cyclones, etc. So yes, weather report help them also to prepare themselves to fight with any kind of disaster. It is indeed helping us to simplify our lives. Okay, then comes the weather instruments and their uses. Thermometer. It is used to measure temperature in degrees Celsius. Rain gauge. It is used to measure rainfall in millimeters. Weather vane. The direction of the wind is shown by a weather vane. Anemometer. Wind speed is measured by anemometer. Barometer. It is used to measure air pressure. Hygrometer. It measures the amount of humidity, which is water vapor, in the atmosphere, in soil, or in small places. So that's all from today's lecture. I'm sure you all would have understood each and every point. And yes, I'll bring another video for you, and in that video we would be doing all the exercises that are included from this chapter. So yes, keep in touch, and till the time, try and solve the different exercises given at the end of the chapter, so that when you would watch that video, you would be able to understand things there and then. Yeah, thank you very much. Please stay home to stay healthy. Bless you all. Take care.